Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Shadow the Hedgehog for the Nintendo GameCube. It is on PS2, but we don't discuss PS2 versions of 3D Sonic games from the 2000s, okay? Look up gameplay of the PS2 version of Sonic Heroes, and I think you'll come to see why. I mean, it's better than nothing, but if you have better options, don't go for that. Anyways, in this part, we're going to be doing the SemiDark path for Shadow the Hedgehog, which is not as evil as the pure dark path, but we're still not in neutral territory just yet. And in light of that, you're going to actually see me do more neutral missions than anything else, which is a good thing, because the neutral mission, 9 times out of 10, probably even more than that, probably like 9.75, 9 out of 10, something like that, is usually just get to the goal ring, and when you're doing a neutral mission, thankfully, you don't really have to concern yourself with a hero or dark score, but if you build up your hero meter by defeating Black Arms aliens, you'll raise your hero bar and you can use chaos control to get to the goal ring faster. But the score of the hero won't add to the neutral score. The neutral score is just the score that's in the top middle screen right below the timer, for better or for worse. Mostly for the better, if you ask me. It's only worse if you feel like your score is a little low and you can't rely on the hero or dark scores as a backup. But then again, because the hero and dark scores would either add or subtract from one another to determine your A rank for the hero or dark mission respectively, yeah. It might be best that they just stick neutral. So, essentially, if you're doing a neutral mission in Shadow the Hedgehog, you're basically doing a time trial, for better or for worse. Again, I would say mostly for the better, since this is a Sonic the Hedgehog game, and let me tell you, going fast should be the #1 priority before anything else, because if a Sonic game doesn't have speedy gameplay, then what identity does it have, and how does it set itself apart from other platforming games in the market? A question that was probably more relevant to ask in the 90s than in the 2000s, but that is what it is. At any rate, though, thankfully, the neutral mission of Westopolis is a lot shorter than the hero or dark mission. We'll be seeing the hero mission during the pure hero path about 3 parts from now. In the next part and the part after, for the neutral and semi-hero paths, I will actually be skipping past Westopolis, because I'm just going to be doing the neutral mission a bunch of times. I'll basically just skip straight from, like, the map to the results screen. And yeah, that's all I have to say about that. We're fixing to finish up Westopolis here. Easily doable in under 3 minutes, with or without Chaos Control. Chaos Control doesn't really save that much time here. At any rate, though, enjoy some cutscenes. I'll see you in the neutral path. For now.
Emerald, go and exterminate the humans first.
Once I find all of the emeralds, then I'll find the truth. Perfect.
You've deliberately disobeyed me, Shadow.
No one tells me what to do. I have my own reasons for collecting the Chaos Emeralds.
You really don't understand the situation here, do you? Perhaps Professor Gerald has done more to your memory than I imagined.
The Professor?
Strange that you don't remember your maker.
What'd you say?
Silence! The ramifications of your disobedience will be severe.
Where am I? Whoa, I guess I underestimated his powers. There's definitely something going on out there. Now it's up to me to find out what they're up to. I don't remember this place.
The thing I like about doing a Let's Play for Shadow the Hedgehog with competent editing is that I'm probably making this game look better than it actually is. At any rate, though, welcome to Glyphic Canyon, the second stage in the neutral path, more or less. And say hello to Knuckles. Unfortunately, this was a second or later do-over of the stage, so we didn't get to see a close-up of Knuckles. We saw it in the last part in Central City, but yeah, Knuckles is here. Yeah, he's just chilling out, helping out with the Black Arms effort. We'll be doing... Oh, that's right. I'm not going to be doing the Hero or Dark missions of Glyphic Canyon because that's a second pass thing in the long plays. So I guess we're not going to be seeing that much of Knuckles in the commentary, sadly. I mean, other than in the background. But yeah, Knuckles is a cool character. I would recommend you look up my Sonic and Knuckles commentary or Let's Play if you want to see my thoughts on Knuckles as a character. We got plenty. That's a good opportunity to talk about that. Anyway. Glyphic Canyon is, it's different than Westopolis, and it's a decent base to, you know, have a second chance at deciding whether you're going to be on a Hero or Dark path, because, yeah, you're going to miss out on Lethal Highway or Digital Circuit, because there's only one way to get to those stages, but you'll still have plenty of opportunity to get yourself on a Hero or even a semi-path of any alignment you choose in Glyphic Canyon. For the first pass, though, we're going to be saving that for the third stage, because that is when the split becomes a lot more relevant, because I'm sure you might have observed this, but on the map, there's only like, after Westopolis you have like 3 stages to choose from for stage 2 and stage 3, but when you get to stage 4 and later, that's when there's like 5 that you could potentially land on, so I feel like the third stage is a pretty good jumping point for the semi-paths. And apparently by doing that, I was able to show off every stage in the game at least once in the first 5 run. Which inevitably wound up in a higher quality Let's Play, I would think, because I get to show off every stage at least once. Not every mission, and believe me, there are some annoying missions in this game, to be sure. And even some of the better missions in the game, I wouldn't say are great. They're just... A good way to describe it would be the best of a bad situation. I'm going to say this right now. I will never tell you that Shadow the Hedgehog is a good game. However, I don't think it's as bad of a game as people try to make it seem like it is. I'm going to say this right now. This isn't a great game, but I really don't think it's a bad game either. I think it's a game... Mediocre might be a more accurate word. And honestly... For a long time, I thought Sonic Heroes was the start of the so-called Dark Age of Sonic. I thought it was like the signal flare for a long time. But after replaying Shadow the Hedgehog, I came to the conclusion that Sonic Heroes was mostly kind of the end of an era, but also kind of the start of a new one, because it was the first multi-platform Sonic game. Original Sonic game, I should say. But Shadow the Hedgehog is kind of its own beast. It was basically a side project between Heroes in 06, you know? You could tell that just by looking at the game, so... You know, in retrospect, Shadow the Hedgehog is definitely the start, but I don't think it was a full-on decline until the game that should not be named anymore. I mean, it's a pretty generic name to begin with, so... You probably know what I'm talking about if you're well-versed at all in the history of the Sonic the Hedgehog series. But anyway, though, as for Glyphic Canyon itself, because this is going to be the only time we see it in the Let's Play, I like this stage, actually. It's a little bit longer than Westopolis. Even if you're just doing the neutral mission, it's about a minute or 2 longer. But the Dark and Hero missions are actually pretty easy to do. Arguably easier to do than Westopolis, because in Westopolis, it's very easy to miss like 1 or 2 targets, funnily enough. Oh, and yeah, I used Chaos Control at the last minute.
Behold,
You must touch the jewel.
I take orders from no one. I do as I decide. Perfect. I wonder if there are any Chaos Emeralds around here. What? it's right. I somehow escaped, but was then captured by those humans. But from where? And why?
Alright, so welcome to Prison Island. Yes, the same Prison Island from Sonic Adventure 2. It's a very nice callback, I must say. I actually like Sonic Adventure 2 quite a bit. But at any rate, though, Prison Island is another simple level. It is on the neutral path, so that should be to expected. Also, say hello to Charmy B, a member of Team Chaotix, a bunch of characters that were introduced in the game Knuckles Chaotic, which, funnily enough, I mentioned in the last part, and I loosely reference it every time I talk about Knuckles. So for Prison Island, the missions are... For the neutral mission, get to the gold ring. The hero mission is collect 5 data discs, and the dark mission is defeat a bunch of gun soldiers. We're doing the dark mission because, as I said, we're on the semi-dark path, and by the time I'm done with this, I will have done technically 4 neutral missions and 2 dark missions. Which I know it sounds more neutral than dark, but that's the interesting thing about the semi-paths, is that, yeah, you do the semi-paths, and you have a lot more flexibility with how you get to the end, because, like, in terms of the final stages, the stage 6s of Shadow the Hedgehog, the ones that are at the very top and the very bottom, there's only 2 ways to go into those, but the ones in the middle each have 3 possible stage 5s that you can go into. So, you know, I'll talk more about that when we get to the final stage of this part, because this final stage of this part is going to be one of those examples. But, yeah, you basically have to track down 40 gun soldiers here in Prison Island, and honestly, I think this level is a lot more fun in the Dark Mission than in Westopolis. Again, not necessarily because it's easier to find the gun soldiers, maybe it is, but you also have a lot more fun because you get to use the air saucer to go down a bunch of toxic slides, which I don't recommend jumping into without the air saucer. That could end disastrously for you. Because, much like with any other 3D Sonic game, if you lose a life and you restart from a checkpoint in the middle of the level, your score gets reset back to 0. And I'll be honest, that isn't really an issue if you're just doing the neutral missions in Shadow the Hedgehog, because a lot of your score is going to come from the time bonus, which, thankfully, the time will reset back to the time that it was when you reached the checkpoint. Okay, that wasn't the gold ring. The gold ring will be around one of these areas, like with the pipe, grind pipe and all that, but that's probably later on. Prison Island is a fairly short level, though. That's another reason why it's so tolerable. But, yeah, we're doing the dark mission, defeat 40 gun soldiers. I couldn't tell you if this is longer than the hero mission, but the hero and dark missions are obviously longer than the neutral missions. No 2 ways about that. And yeah, the theme music's pretty good. In general, the soundtrack for Shadow the Hedgehog, it's different, but even though there are a few songs on here I do like, matter of fact, I've used a couple songs for other projects that you may or may not be aware of, but I would still say this ranks in the mid to lower tiers of Sonic the Hedgehog video game soundtrack, because that is one thing that seems to be a common recurring theme with Sonic games, is that even if the game itself, the quality is subjective or debatable, the soundtrack will usually be pretty good to great, if not one of the best that you can listen to in video games. So that's always something. Sega always seems to be on point with their audio department. Honestly, depending on the generation of Sonic games, it seems to be on point with their visuals too. Oh yeah, this is probably pretty good time to bring up. In each stage, there are 5 keys to collect. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not going to show off where every key is, because when you collect a key and you restart a level, this is a good thing. If you collect a key and restart a level, you don't lose the key, you keep the key. I don't know if this will stick if you exit the level after that, but if you restart, yeah, you keep the key. So, obviously, some of these I have to restart to get a better score, or what have you. Or, you know, I gotta get those A ranks. I don't know what to tell you. So, needless to say, do not use my long play videos or this Let's Play as a reference to find all the keys, because quite frankly, I don't think that's important. There are secret doors you unlock by collecting 5 keys and finding the door and unlocking it. Some of them will give you items, some of them will take you to alternate paths, which give you a lot of items, but more often than not, they aren't really helpful. There are a couple of secret doors that I've seen on looking it up on YouTube, where it could help you beat a level a little bit quicker, but all in all, it's probably not worth it. And thankfully, I think this is a level where you actually have a slightly more than 40 gun soldiers to defeat. So that's cool.
Well done, Shadow.
Now let's see the humans try to retaliate. Perfect. What's going on with me? I can't get these images out of my mind. Those black creatures. How do they know me? Who was I before this? What?
Shadow, you seem troubled.
You!
Look.
That's the...
Yes, that's right. The space colony Ark. 50 years ago.
The Ark? 50 years ago? That's me.
That's right. This will remind you what the humans did to you. Never forget that horrifying image. Welcome to your doom.
That was my impression of Black Doom, which sounds an awful lot like Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. And just the voice acting in general. But actually, the guy that does the voice of Black Doom is actually the same guy that does the voice of Goku. Sean Schummel. Really cool guy, based on some videos I've seen of him doing like a panel. At any rate though, back to the subject at hand. Welcome to the Doom. Now this is one of those levels that people will often cite as one of the worst levels in Shadow the Hedgehog, and I can kind of see where they're coming from, because again, the missions in here are kind of on the lower end of tolerable ones in Shadow the Hedgehog. You'll be happy to know that I'm only doing the neutral mission because, again, this is the semi-dark path. You don't have to do the dark or hero mission to stay on the semi-dark path. You only have to do a couple dark missions, funnily enough, if you just want to play it straight. I mean, you're seeing the map screen as we're playing along, so I'm sure people aren't going to get lost or anything like that. Unlike if you play the Doom or another level that we'll be seeing on the Pure Hero path, it's very easy to get lost. Arguably more so in the other level than this one, though. I did do the dark mission for the Doom during the second pass in the long play videos. Yeah, that wasn't very fun. You have to track down like 60 gun soldiers. You have to also clear the level suspiciously fast to get an A rank, I found. It might be the same case for the neutral mission as well. I may have had to redo this mission actually. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the Doom is kind of aptly named, I will say. Maybe a little too strongly named, because I feel like the other level is more of a Doom than this one. Funnily enough, actually, if you swap the names of the levels, it wouldn't make sense from a story perspective, but it would make more sense from a gameplay perspective as far as how much stress is being placed on the player, you know, by all that metric. And thankfully, if you're just doing the neutral mission, again, it doesn't really matter your dark or hero score. You just have to, you can defeat all the enemies in your way, and if you get hero score and hero meter, you can use chaos control to get to the level faster. Unfortunately, this is one of those levels, much like Gun Fortress, where pretty much most, if not all, of the enemies are going to give you dark points and not really much else. That doesn't mean there aren't other ways to get hero points, though. Actually, the hero mission for the Doom involves you healing a bunch of injured scientists. I think there's like 10 of them. You have to basically collect healing capsules with the X button or whatever other system you're playing this on. If it's not GameCube or Xbox, I don't know what you're smoking, but if you, whatever it is, hey, maybe I want some of that. Anyway, yeah, the hero mission is recovering or restoring the health of some injured scientists, and neutral missions, gold ring, dark missions, defeat 60 gun soldiers to dark. I don't don't know if the Dark mission or the Hero mission is more annoying. I didn't do the Hero mission at all throughout the long play videos, and obviously I didn't do it for this Let's Play, but I remember it being more annoying than the Dark mission. Last time I recall doing it, at any rate. So that's all there is I have to say about that. Actually, I think we are coming up to the goal ring here in just a minute. But this is one of those situations, much like the Ark, where getting to the end of the level, you'll have to fight a boss. I'm not sure if you fight the boss if you do the Hero mission, since you wouldn't be on the evil path anymore at all.
Alright, I can get out through here. Maria, I'm glad that you're safe. Perfect.
Mantis platoon, heavy dog reporting in. Primary target and the girl have been located. Acquiring targets. En route to intercept and destroy.
What the?
Please, Shadow, help me.
Humans, willing to sacrifice their own when overcome by greed. They are a foolish race.
Those heartless humans! Get out of my way!
This is Heavy Dog. Target has been sighted. Proceeding to engage and neutralize.
Now go.
So if it isn't obvious, Black Doom is clearly forcing Shadow to have flashbacks to Maria, his time with Maria, in order to make Shadow vengeful of the humans. And that's probably why this level is not quite on the pure dark path, it's more on the semi-dark path, because, I mean, Shadow is trying to protect Maria, he has good intentions, it's just that the result is debatably more evil than Hero. Probably more evil than neutral. Anyway, last time we took care of a boss called Blue Falcon in the Ark. Welcome to Heavy Dog, which may or may not be a reference to Flying Dog from Sonic Adventure 2. The heavy part, yeah, I don't know. The heavy part implies that this is a more grounded boss than the one we fought in the Ark. But the strategy is mostly the same. You want to spam a bunch of homing attacks, and any rocket launchers that drop from the boss, you'll want to collect and spam as much as you can. These bosses are annoying because they'll sometimes shoot out a bunch of rings, and that has good range, as I'm sure you can tell. And it alternates between the upper and lower areas. It ain't though, spam the rocket launchers enough, and the homing attacks, and try to defeat these bosses in under a minute and a half, and you should get that A rank, no problemo. C'est la vie!
How dare you harm Maria, disgusting humans! Out of my sight! Perfect.
Sir, your transport is ready. We must go now. Sir, please.
Once again, I have failed my duty to protect our nation.
Sir, it's not over. We can continue to fight. The Black Aliens may have rendered us unable for now, but we will rally, sir. You must keep your nation strong and together.
Yes, keep the nation united. No matter what happens, we'll never surrender to these creatures. This much I learned from them.
Sir, please hurry.
Okay.
The black creatures will feel their own bloody hell.
What a pathetic sight. Shadow, follow them. Make sure they understand their situation.
take out the president? No way! Actually, no, we don't. We don't have to do the dark mission. We're doing the neutral mission, just going for the gold ring. I will say, though, Air Fleet is honestly one of my favorite levels in this game. This is a similar reason to other levels where every mission is tolerable. In fact, I'd actually argue that every mission in Air Fleet is enjoyable. The hero mission, you have to defeat 35 Black Arms aliens, which is almost nothing. And you get so many points from the bigger ones that you, I don't think you need to worry about getting an A rank here. But if you're doing the neutral mission, you want to go hero anyway to build up your chaos control and spam that to get to the end of the level. Neutral mission is the gold ring mission, of course, and the dark mission, the most interesting one, is you have to destroy the president's transport plane, which takes a lot of abuse, let me tell you that. So don't be surprised if that might wind up being the longest mission of the three, even though it may not seem like it would be. You don't always have the opportunity to take down the transport plane. It is worth mentioning that much. You don't always have the opportunity, so take your shots when you can, and when you have a full dark meter, take advantage of the infinite ammo rather than the chaos blast, because you'll be doing a lot more damage that way, rather than the alternative. That said, though, I do all of the missions of Air Fleet in the long play videos, but for this commentary, we're only going to be seeing this stage once, so enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. Also, Tails is the helper character here, which kind of makes sense since Tails is a character that flies, and the level's called Air Fleet, but considering the subject matter, yeah, I don't know. This isn't right. Maybe they should have swapped Tails with Knuckles from another stage or something like that. I don't know. There you go. Yeah, these wind turbine tunnel sections in Air Fleet are kind of annoying. You have to spin dash, really, to be able to get through those quickly and efficiently. I would have more to say about the stage if I was doing the dark mission, honestly, because that is just stupid fun. Just getting your dark energy bar filled up all the way, and you have infinite ammo, you can spam your guns all you want, and oh boy. It's quite cathartic, I guess, just to be able to unload hundreds and hundreds of bullets on a single object in the game. And the plane takes a lot of abuse, let me tell you. Like, an insane amount of abuse. Yeah, this level is definitely just one of those guilty pleasure levels, I guess. A guilty pleasure level in a game that's already arguably kind of a guilty pleasure game. On that note, since we still have a little bit left of this level to go, and I don't know when I'll have the opportunity to bring this up, but I would consider Shadow the Hedgehog to be the Mega Man X6 of the Sonic series, whereas the game that shall not be named, I would say, is more of a Mega Man X7 kind of situation, but probably worse. And if you're a Mega Man fan as well as a Sonic the Hedgehog fan, don't be surprised if you find that you're going to agree with my sentiments, most likely. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but most likely you'll probably at least understand where I'm coming from. Mega Man X6 is a game that has a lot of flaws to it because it wasn't given enough development time compared to the previous X games that preceded it. Similar situation with Shadow. Difference is that Shadow was released when the GameCube was still relevant, but the next generation was already on the way with the 360, getting a year head start. Mega Man X6 was released a year or two after the PlayStation 2 came out. It was a PS1 game. It released 1 or 2 years after the PS2, depending on your region. So, yeah, you can tell that stuff like that, it was just like a last-minute cash grab to take advantage of old resources to cut down on the budget, I guess you could say. And you can definitely see that with X6 and Shadow the Hedgehog. But I still say the games came out better than they could have, but at the same time, I guess worse than they could have if they actually had more time in the oven. And both of these games I actually like to a degree. I'm not going to sit here and argue that either of them are good games, but I still like them. It is possible to like a bad game. Just don't let yourself be blind to the flaws of said game, alright? I'm going to tell you that because X6 is honestly probably my top 5 Mega Man X games because of how you can cheese it mostly. And there you go, yeah, to get to the gold ring, you see I get stuck here for a minute because I'm like, wait, how do I get through the door? It takes me a minute to see that I have to crawl under the door because there's another damn hole in there. Good lord. And I still managed to get an A rank, so I think the time limit is roughly like 5.5 minutes or something like that, so not too bad, all things considered.
I found it. One of the Chaos Emeralds held by Gun. I'm going to find the truth for myself. Perfect. This makes 5 Chaos Emeralds.
Shadow, the day of reckoning is near. Bring all of the Chaos Emeralds to me immediately.
Okay, 2 more and then the truth about my past will be revealed. I'll finally know who I am.
Shadow, we seem to have a problem with rats running loose on the base. Return immediately to the Black Comet and exterminate them.
The Black Comet?
Shadow, those humans are trying to ruin our base.
Alright, and welcome to the final stage of the SemiDark path. There are 3 different ways you can get to Black Comet, but I chose the most middle of the ground for the SemiDark. There is a notable difference between this stage and the variation of it that we will see at the end of the Pure Hero path. There's different vibes going on. Because this is at the end of a semi-dark path, it's still implied that Shadow is somewhat evil, so the game is acting under the impression that Shadow is coming here to defend Black Doom from the invading gun soldiers. So, kind of like a Gun Fortress situation, but this is a lot more interesting than Gun Fortress, honestly. Because you're fighting nothing but the mechs and the robots, you're not fighting the soldiers, and a lot of them drop really good weapons, you know? So, that's pretty cool. There's only 50. I think there's a few more than 50 in the entire stage. The only thing is that this stage is actually quite long, unfortunately. And that doesn't really change if you're doing the hero mission, which is the goal ring mission. This is one of those levels that even if you're doing it optimally, you know, spamming chaos control and all that, it's still going to take you about 7 to 8 minutes. And if you're doing this dark mission, I think it's maybe add another minute on top of that, depending. Knuckles is your partner, though, so that's pretty cool. If you're just going for the goal ring to have Knuckles on side, you know, spouting his lines. He's actually voiced by the same voice actor that voices Yugi in Yu-Gi-Oh! In this game, as well as oh, actually, that is a good thing I can bring up, is that Shadow the Hedgehog is the first game to use the 4Kids voice cast from Sonic X, you know, the English dub of that. So I guess Shadow the Hedgehog really was more of a start rather than an end. Well, yeah, that makes sense. The Sonic Heroes still use the Sonic Adventure voice cast. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of looking at the different eras of Sonic, is depending on the voice cast, I guess. Great, though, I actually like Black Comet as a final stage. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but again, if it's a stage where you can do a lot of combat, because I find that that is one of the better aspects of Shadow the Hedgehog, is the gunplay and stuff, and just defeating a bunch of enemies mindlessly while you're going through the stage as fast as you can. I will say, though, speed is definitely not as big of a focus in Shadow the Hedgehog compared to the other most other Sonic games, but I think it makes sense, because yeah, this is technically a game in the Sonic series, but the game is called Shadow the Hedgehog. So they can get away with the game not being as fast, I guess, because Shadow is a fast character, but there's more to him than being fast, I guess. You know, he has all this backstory and whatnot. He's able to use guns without feeling bad about it, I guess, unlike our favorite blue hedgehog, Sonic. Actually, Sonic is my favorite Sonic character. I know it's kind of a generic taste, but that's just the way it is. I like characters like Shadow and Knuckles well enough. I would say, honestly, Shadow, Knuckles, and Sonic are in my top 3. But I've always liked Sonic's carefree attitude, more so in the earlier games than the later ones, where, honestly, I find that the character is a little more obnoxious, which I don't like as much, but Yeah, no. But yeah, Black Comet is a long level. You're defeating a bunch of gun soldiers. They drop good weapons, though, because, again, you're not fighting the soldiers, you're fighting the mechs, like that mech right there that looks like a bald gecko of sorts. Drops a Gatling gun, and the Gatling gun is, like, one of the best weapons in the game. And with all the gun soldiers, it's very easy to build up your dark meter, so expect to have that full pretty much most of the time. Here's a fun fact, though. If you're on a vehicle like the Air Saucer, and you're building up dark meter, if you're still in normal mode and you're building up dark meter, if it gets full, your meter won't start depleting until you exit the vehicle. But it also means you can't build up your meter anymore, so you kind of have to pick and choose when you want to get off the vehicle. And you do have to get off the vehicle to go through these warp holes, as it were, so eventually you will have to come to terms with that. But yeah, Black Comet is a long level, but because you're doing so much combat and doing a little bit of platforming in between the combat sections, I do feel that this is the better of the two Black Comet theme levels in the main 22 stages. The other one is a little more boring because you don't have as many enemies to fight off. Plenty of black arms, yeah, because the pure hero path, sure. And you're probably going to be spamming Chaos Control a lot more, so that's pretty cool too, but, you know. Be careful during these air saucer sections where you're on the liquid. The liquid is instant death, by the way, which, if you're doing these final stages where there's no neutral mission to fall back on, yeah, you don't want your score to be reset back to 0. But be careful with the targeting, because, yeah, you see I accidentally kill some Black Arms enemies, which is not a very good thing to do when you're doing these long-term levels where you're probably going to be relying on your score more than the time bonus, because, you know, after about 6 minutes or so, the time bonus you get is not going to be great, obviously. I don't know if that changes depending on the level, because obviously some levels are inherently built to be longer than others, and it's understandable for all these final stages to be on the longer side. Actually, the shortest of these final stages is going to be the one we're going to do in the next part in the neutral path. Coincidentally, the next part is also going to be the shortest part in this commentary. It's going to be like half as long as the first part, so. Also, this weird thing happens sometimes when you get crushed by a weight and you're invincible. Shadow will get stuck under the floor, but he'll just come out of it eventually. I did mention earlier that there might be slightly more than 50 gun soldiers. That said, you don't want to skip any of these grind rail segments because there's like 2 to 3 gun soldiers on each of these floors, so you'll definitely want to take advantage of that and take your time and defeat all these gun soldiers, as it were. Now, think about it, this might be closer to an 8 to 9 minute level when you're doing the dark mission. The hero mission is a little faster because you build up your hero meter, you do chaos control, it saves you some time, obviously, but you don't get as many Black Arms enemies in here as you do in the hero version of this level, which we're going to see in about 3 parts. Also, obviously, if you do the dark mission, the boss fight is going to be Sonic and Diablon again. I'm going to leave in the cutscenes, but I'm actually going to cut out the boss fight to save you guys some viewing time, because we've already seen the boss fight. It is faster. I think this version of the fight, I managed to do it in under 2 minutes, or maybe under 2.5 minutes, but you've already seen the boss. I'm not going to subject you to watch the same boss again, and I already pretty much said everything I had to say. But it is worth noting that aesthetically, it matches the first time I ever fought the boss, you know, with the Black Comet backdrop. It wasn't in this level, but it was in the other version of the level, so same difference. Another section where you have to defeat Black Arms to progress, and these are like the elite Black Arms, so they give a lot of points, and they take a lot of abuse too. Their weapons are really good to get if you're going for the hero mission. It's like one of the best Black Arms weapons you can get. But if you're doing the dark mission, stick with the Gatling gun. That's going to be your best bet. We should be coming up on the end here pretty soon, and it's going to be like one last gauntlet or 2 of the gun soldiers, like I said. There should be slightly more than 50, but to play it safe, you definitely want to go for as many as you can. On that note, this is going to end my commentary for the SemiDark path. I will see you guys next time on Let's Play Shadow the Hedgehog, where we cover the neutral path. Say la vie.
Let the humans await their final judgment day. Perfect. Shadow, I can't let you go. Not like this.
You're the one who destroyed the Ark and killed everyone on it. It's time to settle this once and for all.
All right. I know what I have to do. I was born to bring order to the humans. These humans, they don't value life. They're going to pay. Pay with their lives for what they've done.
You?
Sonic, if you try to stop me, I'll destroy you too. Game over, Sonic. Perfect. Finally, I've got all the Chaos Emeralds. Shadow, why? Why are you siding with them? I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form born to protect and serve the Dark Lord, Black Doom. With the power of these Chaos Emeralds, this world will become the Dark Empire. This is who I am.